31 seconds. That's how long my Olympic run lasted. A lot went into those 31 seconds. In the 4-year interim between Sochi, where I won my first Olympic gold medal, and my second Olympics in Pyeongchang, I spent 1,400 hours on skis training in a half pipe, 1,560 hours in the gym strength training, 600 hours stretching, doing yoga, or physical therapy. I spent 400 hours with a blindfold on, visualizing. I suffered 2 concussions and 2 separated shoulders, one on each side just to keep me balanced. I broke 32 pairs of skis. I sat on 196 different airplanes and spent over 600 hours traveling by car, bus, or train. I spent 13,000 hours, an average of 4.5 months a year, away from my wife and 2 young children. I spent 4 years strategizing, learning new tricks, and crafting a run that no one else in the world could do. That run included a trick that it took me 2 solid months and 30 tries before I even landed once. I used that trick to win the first 2 qualifiers and the X Games leading up to the Olympics. I couldn't be more ready. Competitive half-pipe skiing is my job, and the Winter Olympic Games are the pinnacle. As an Olympic athlete, success or failure in the eyes of the world comes down to that 31-second run through the half-pipe. If I land my runs and bring home a medal, then it was all worth it, and I'm a hero. But if I don't, then it was all a waste, and everyone forgets about me for another 4 years. You could call that pressure. I wouldn't be here if I didn't handle pressure well. But look, I'm not here to toot my own horn and show you that I perform well under pressure. I'm here to show you guys why I perform well under pressure. I perform well under pressure because I've discovered that those 31 seconds are not all my life is about. Society defines success in terms of moments and highlights, but I believe that true success can only be seen in the long view. I like to write something on my sleeve for major competitions. It's the last thing I look at before I drop in. For Pyeongchang, I wrote, "I cannot fail because it is not my victory. I cannot fail because it is not my victory." Have you ever had one of those days when everything is going your way? When you feel like you can't mess up? I am not a superhero. Usually it's hard for me to land a good run, but every once in a while, I just find the zone. Everything slows down for me in the air, and I get this whimsical approach to it where I'm just enjoying myself. I'm having fun. I'm having the time of my life. I wish I could get there every time, but I was having one of those days in Pyeongchang. I was talking to myself, and I was telling myself exactly where I was going to grab my skis in the air. Oh, right there. I could see everything, and I literally was telling myself exactly when I was going to set my skis down for landing. I was like, yeah, right now. That's how my first run was going in Pyeongchang. Then, all of a sudden, I was piled up in the transition. I was genuinely surprised. Usually I know a crash is coming because a crash is usually caused by a mistake that I've made. But my landing had been perfect. That ski just wasn't as committed to this run as I was. As an athlete, it's important not to get caught up in the things you can't control, like a faulty binding. But I admit that it was hard not to be frustrated. I remember telling myself when I got to the bottom, "Hey bro, you're blowing it at the Olympics." Everyone secretly has a hypothetical resume. In bold letters at the top of mine, it says, "Doesn't blow it at major competitions." On top of that, the DJ started playing over the sound system. As if it wasn't stressful enough already. I took a deep breath, managed another smile before my second run, and reread my sleeve. I cannot fail because it is not my victory. My first trick is forever frozen in my memory. I landed a little high, but it was no cause for alarm. Then I can remember the ease with which my foot slipped out of my binding once again. And I can remember watching the ski drift away from me in slow motion as I screamed, "Are you kidding me?" The ski was not kidding me. One thing I've learned in the last 4 years is that God's plan for my life isn't always success and glory. The years between Sochi and Pyeongchang were some of the most difficult years of my life personally, and without a doubt, some of the worst competitive years of my career. In the fall, after Sochi, my second child, Malachi, was born. And any parent in this room will tell you that the jump from 1 kid to 2 is like 10 times as hard. I'm telling you, my wife and I had that 1 kid travel circus dialed. We could get on a plane. We could be out the door in 5 minutes. 2 kids was a whole different game. It was stressful. The following summer, my older sister, Christy, was hit by a boat and lost her right leg above the knee. My lifelong adventure buddy's life had changed forever, and there was nothing I could do about it. The following fall, my wife's dad died. Then her grandmother died. And then my grandmother died. And then one of my favorite youth group students, Riley, died. When it rains, it pours. Simultaneously, I was struggling on skis. I was constantly injured, and I had the longest stretch of my life without a podium finish. Because I was missing the podium, a lot of my friends turned their backs on me, and most of my major sponsors dropped me. I was only a few short years removed from the greatest win of my life, an Olympic gold medal. And already the glamour that came along with it was melting like the snow. So I started pursuing victories that can never melt, never fade, the ones that I'm incapable of reaching on my own. On paper, those might seem like the worst years of my life, but my wife and I consider them some of our best years. We grew as a couple through those difficult times in a way we never could have if my string of competition success had continued. I look back and I'm honestly grateful for the struggle. Everyone is going to have your back when you're winning. But I learned through 3 years of losing who really had my back. I also learned that my wife would stand by me and raise our kids in a castle or in a cardboard box. Even if I never won another competition in my life, I was rich beyond measure. It was during those dark and stormy times that my wife came up with the statement, "I cannot fail because it is not my victory." What we learned by leaning on each other and banding together as a family is that success in the eyes of others doesn't matter nearly as much as those small moments with your family and your loved ones along the way. During those years, I taught my daughter how to ride a bike. I taught my son how to walk and talk. Both kids learned how to ski, and then my son turned to the dark side. And he learned to snowboard. What I discovered is that the best moments of my life were about people and love and relationships, not fame and money and awards. Hollywood wants a neat, concise story with a climax and an ending. But the real story is in the details in between. What I gained was freedom from other people's definition of success. What was supposed to be the worst years of my life were actually the best. Don't buy into the lie that you need more than you already have in order to have joy. My demeanor showed it all as I prepared to drop in for my last run. That was a real, confident smile. But not for the reasons you guys might think. Many people have asked me how I managed to have so much peace during such stressful circumstances. Others have commented that I must be the most mentally tough athlete they've ever seen because I knew I was going to land that third run, and then I did land it. But I'm going to let you all in on a secret. I had no idea if I was going to land that run or not. The way my day was going, I would not have been surprised if a vortex opened up in the wall of the half pipe and swallowed me whole. What I remembered in those moments between my second and third run is that these 31 seconds are not all my life is about. These 31 seconds wouldn't determine my success or failure. I was excited to take on that last run. I had one chance left to do what I feel like I was made to do on the greatest stage. I reminded myself that I was there on a mission to do something that had never been done on skis, and there's no better place to do it. Plus, my ski tech Clint cranked those bindings up as tight as they could go. My legs were coming off before my skis did on that last run. I glanced down at my sleeve. I cannot fail because it is not my victory. Smiled at the half pipe once again and sent it. What followed was the best 31 seconds of half pipe skiing of my life. So why was I able to land that third run? I didn't succeed because I'm a mental giant. I am not a superhero. I landed that run because I wasn't afraid to fail. In that moment, I knew I could not fail because a crash on that run wouldn't have been failure. What I was feeling just before I dropped in wasn't pressure. It was opportunity. So next time you find yourself afraid to fail, remember the big picture. Remember that even a victory doesn't belong solely to you. So you cannot fail. The judges rewarded me with the highest score of my career, and I won my second Olympic gold medal. Phew! Thank you. But at the Olympics, you don't get your medal right away. They give you the medal hours later at an elaborate medal ceremony. Still, I will forever say that here I am with the greatest trophies of my life. So if it's not my victory, then whose is it? I believe God thought up snow with people like me in mind. And doing something unique on that snow is my way of celebrating it with him. In that way, when I land a new run, the victory belongs to the one who thought up skiing in the first place, God. And in another small way, it belongs to you, my community, my family, my supporters, my people. I never would have made it without the sacrifice of others. So next time you find yourself with an opportunity to change the game, go for it without any fear of failure. You cannot fail because it is not your victory. Above all else, I hope that each of you seeks and finds true success.